All right, let's talk for a few minutes about the transfer market in BuzzerBeater. It's one of the most unique, one of the most difficult to kind of understand aspects of the game. I love it for that reason. The market is completely dictated by real life players from all around the world, over 90 countries in all. So there's literally not a corner of the earth where people aren't participating in the BuzzerBeater transfer market. And today we're just going to take a really quick look at it so we can understand why the market is valuable and how, as a new player, you can use it as a source of income and a source of getting a deeper understanding of the game. So, the number one thing I think the transfer market does is allow you to learn player values in a more intuitive, organic way. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you're looking at the app, which is fantastic, let's hit the burger menu in the top left corner. And that's going to bring up our main options here. Right down here, I've got training list. You see that? It's the fifth option down. So we're going to click on transfer list. What did I say? Training list? You know what I meant. Transfer list. Now I'm a Utopia team. So generally the first thing I do, and you see there's lots of options. It might seem a little overwhelming. The website has even more little options you could do, including height and stuff like that. But this really helps on the phone. And you can almost always find exactly what you want using these filters here. I love browsing the transfer market on BuzzerBeater when I'm sitting at the dentist's office, etc. It's a thing. It's my favorite pastime. So I spend a weird amount of time on the transfer market, and I'm still in the world of new and rebuilding players. So I have a really strong sense of what that market looks like for about 45% of the buzzer beater population. All right. So again, 44%, I think, of the population has rosters under 150K. So what I'm about to say will help almost all of those people. If you're in that world of a roster builder and your rosters are under 170K, 180K, even 200K, even, you probably will find this valuable too. So this is kind of more transfer market 101, 201. Let's get into player values. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you have a new team, and let's say you want a player from your nationality, whatever that is, because you get a nice little local bonus to their merch every week. It's not a ton, but it adds up, right? $2 a week over time will add up to a lot of money. That's not the price. I'm just using an arbitrary amount. So let's start by first keeping local. Whenever I use the transfer market, I always start with my nation first. If I don't find what I'm looking for, then I'll just expand to everybody. So that's where right here in our nationality. And let's say we're a newer team and our favorite player is Luka Doncic. And so we want some kind of point guard shooter who can really just like dominate a game and be the focal point of your offense. Let's say that's what we want. And also, let's say we've happened to get a rookie big man. So it's like, well, if we're training big men, because I have a young big man on my team, then let me go out and get what I know I won't be trading a ton, which is the guard positions. So let's say we also want a player in their prime. Let's not go too old, because maybe you're thinking, I want a player that can stick around for a couple of seasons on my team and then maybe even transition to a backup role if I get really good players later. So let's go with 29 as the max, right? That'll give you 4 seasons before you kind of start to lose any pops. And let's go with the minimum age, because we're not really looking to train anybody. We're training big men. So we need an established player. So let's just start at 23, right? And you could go younger, you could go older here, but let's just do this. And then you can go down here to best position, and you could say, I want a point guard or a shooting guard. Or you could keep none of these blank. You could keep all these blank and not choose a best position. If you hit search now, it will give you all Utopia players this age, but we want a Luka Doncic type player. So sure, we could do this, and let's do point guard, shooting guard. Okay. And do the same thing and not put in any filters right now. Let's just see how many guards in that age are available, period, for Utopia. 53. That's it. Now, look at this guy, 1.8 million. You're a new team. You don't got $1.8 million. Who are you kidding? At most, maybe you're looking to spend 200,000 on this player. And that's because you've already developed your arena a bit. Maybe you got a new trainer that's a level 4, level 5. So, but let's say you want to drop 200K on a player because you're competitive like me. Well, let's now cap that at 200K and do the same search again. So let's take out all the people we cannot afford. We had 54. This is why I'm doing this in steps, so you could see the difference in values, because value comes from, right, availability. All right, now we're down to 19 guys. But look at this guy's salary. His salary is $171,000 a week. Your whole team's salary is maybe half that if you're a new player, right? If you're a developing player, or like I said, this guy's salary is more than half of the owners in BuzzerBeater's total roster salary, believe it or not. So we can't afford that guy. So let's go over here to max salary. What can we afford as a newer team? As a general rule, unless a player is amazing, I don't like going over 30K a week for salary. Unless it's like, okay, this guy's awesome, can play multiple positions, doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. Sure, I'll pay 37K a week for him. But if you're a newer team and you are still investing in other parts, let's just top it at 29, because we put 29 here and I like the number 29. Boom. And let's do this now. Let's just search again real quick. Watch this. We were down to 19. Ready? Look how this works. 19. Sorry if that's a little slow. We're down to 18 only. Okay, good. Now let's go back. Now let's up it. We don't want any garbage players. We want a player that's actually good, right? We want a starting guard that can impact the game or take it over. Let's just put our salary minimum at 9,000. That's not impact guard potential, but maybe we'll see some kind of secondary guard or backup that we like, or whatever. Maybe we need both a new point guard and a new shooting guard. So let's do that. 9,000 to 29,000, 23 to 29, under 200K, Utopia only. Watch, there's going to be like 3 guys. Let's see. 9 guys. Pretty good. Remember, this is Utopia only. So out of these 9 players, the first things you do when you look at the transfer market, now that we've got an idea, is age and potential. They're right here at the top, right underneath the player's last name. And why do we do that first? Well, because if they're young enough and have high enough potential, they still have training seasons available to them. This player is a Hall of Fame potential player. So yes, definitely. Hall of Fame, outside of all-time great, Hall of Famer is the second highest potential in the game. And it's much more common than all-time great, because all-time great is super rare. So Hall of Famers are the most sought after outside of all-time greats. And you will find these on a lot of national teams, a lot of Hall of Fame potential players. This guy's 23. The offseason's occurring right now. And in fact, each player in BuzzerBeater does not have a month in which they were born. They just all tick over a year in age at the beginning of the new season. And if you've watched the other videos, or perhaps you've even watched Bubbles BuzzerBeater videos, because his are fantastic, you would know there are 14 weeks in a BuzzerBeater season. Okay? So with that being said, this guy's about to be 24 years old. And he still has room to train. Obviously, he's got tons of room, but as a player ages out, their training speed slows. At 24, he's still trainable. His height is, we could get into that later, because this is now I'm like getting into training stuff. But the point is, this guy could be trained more. So his value will probably go up. He's got 3 bookmarks, 56 views. The bid was started at $1, and people have him over 100,000 right now. And he goes tomorrow in the AM in my time. So this player, probably not exactly the type of player you're looking for, because he still needs some training, and you're not looking to train a guy. You want an established guy. And this guy has more value because he still has more training possible. So if the player has more training, they will probably go for a higher price, right? Because that value is there. Let's look at this guy below him. All right, a little bit better outside D. 11, personally, I don't like anything under 11. I love 11 for a starting guard, like for a new team, okay? For a new team. 8, that's about as low as I go for passing, so I like that. Handling and driving are pretty darn high. I'd like a little more jump range, but this is passable. Also, because while Jeffrey O'Casey doesn't have a lot of jump range, he does have a pretty decent inside shot for a player at this level. His stamina and free throw, I don't really care too much about these things, but they are nice that they are both solid enough. This guy's 100,000. Okay, not too shabby. 25, perennial all-star. He's pretty much done being training, and his potential is not going to really allow for a ton more training here anyway. So notice 23 Hall of Famer, 25 perennial all-star. One of these players can be trained more. One of these players pretty much done being trained. Because training slows down so much in the 20s, usually it's better to, if you don't have an established team, just get some young players and train them up. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Saifuddin Rusli. That outside D a little low, not bad. He could be trained a smidge, but solid skills overall. No rebounding, but this is a solid guy. Outside D is a little low, but I like everything else. I like his offense. This is more of like a 2 guard who could maybe play small forward for you, but is just going to get a small forward who cannot rebound to save his life. But he could technically play the 2 or the 3 or the 1. So there's some value there. Also, he's only 12,000. That's much cheaper than this player. And all you're really giving up is 1 outside defense, and you're getting more in just about every area, minus rebounding. So Saifuddin Rusli looks like a player we might be interested in. He's got less views, less bookmarks. So let's bookmark him, right? Let's pretend we're this team that we want like an impact guy. These guys still kind of low. These aren't like impact guys, but they're solid for a newer team. They can start for you. They can be a really nice 6th man off the bench for you. I don't like Jeffrey Williams. Why don't we like him? Take a good look. We're using the transfer market. We're a new player. Why is he a red flag compared to these two, Jeffrey O'Casey and Saifuddin Rusli? His passing, a 2. This guy is just going to shoot and shoot and shoot some more. Let's see what kind of minutes he got. Look at the interest, because most BuzzerBeater managers are actually pretty smart people. It's why I like the community. It's an intelligent community overall. There are still some ding-dongs and some rocks, but intelligent community. Look, nobody's really interested in this guy. Why? Again, his passing is awful. Let's look at his we could look at his stats. I just hit refresh. Sorry, I'm scrolling up and I'm running the app through my computer. I apologize. Let's look at his stats just real quick. All right. In 18 minutes, he's shooting not that great. And also, let's look at in 18 minutes per game, he's averaging not even a full assist. He had a 4-assist game here out of the point guard position. That's pretty impressive. But outside of that, this guy just cannot pass. His turnovers more than assists. I don't like that. I don't like when a turnover ratio is higher than assist ratio. So the point is, like, this guy's a true 2 that's not going to help move the ball for you. That's why he's kind of a red flag player. I could see why this guy might want 70K for him. I feel like that is the absolute highest end that I would pay for this guy. Down here, defense, outside defense too low. That's a 9 on Michel Campos. Jump range, I would take jump range this low if he could also play small forward or something like that, but he can't, right? Inside D is also too low. Inside shot and rebounding would be enough, but his inside D is very lacking. So I don't like this guy. Maybe as a bench guy, fine, but I don't like him really. New player again, 24 all-star. So we're a new player looking. I don't like the outside D. This guy doesn't feel like a Luka Doncic-esque character, although he is nice and affordable. He might be a good backup for you as a new team. This guy's a little better than the other ones, but 150K, not worth it. You can get better players for that much money. Now, you wouldn't know that as a new player, but I'm telling you that. And look, here's a good way to infer if you think without knowing innately, how do I know if I could get a better player for less money? Well, look down here, 5 views, no bookmarks. Probably nobody's going to bid on this player. So if you look down here and you see, this is not a popular option right now amongst the community, that's a very strong indicator that they are priced too high. This guy's outside D and jump range are terrible. He has no real inside D. He's instant offense. Old Rudolph Barnersoy. I think a B makes a S sound. Rudolph Barnersoy? Who knows? He might be instant offense off the bench, but at that price, nah, I don't think so either. So the point is, we're looking for a Luka player, and we didn't find one. We like Saifuddin, but he's not really a Luka player, right? He's not like a take over the game for you guy, but him and OKC, possible options, certainly. So we got two options. Let's go back, make just one change. Now watch what happens if we open it up to the rest of the world, over 90 different countries. And now we hit search. We had 19 Utopia players, and now we have 101. Guess what, y'all? We're not going to go through all 101 right now. But what can we do to make that number smaller? Maybe you do want to look through all 101, but here's an easy way to make that less arduous. We want outside defense at a minimum of an 11. Why? Because we're weird, and that's what we put. If I were you, I would really consider 10, 11 to be the minimum. We had that one guy at 10. Passing, again, I would say 8 is the minimum. Let's just hold out high. And then outside skill, we want a guy who can actually shoot some threes some of the time. So we at least want, let's say, an 8 in jump range. Now let's search with this. We had over 100 hits before those 3 filters, but we know we want at least that on a player. Now we're down to 12. Boom. Nearly the same amount as Utopia. And what do we have here? For 55, this guy's got 18 jump shot, 12 jump range, 11 outside D, just passable. Great handling and driving, great passing, a great inside shot. He can't rebound, but everything else is really strong. This guy would be an awesome shooting guard, even a 1, but definitely a shooting guard. His outside D is a little low for a newer team, or he's baseline as low as I like to go. A lot of people have worse outside D than me. But here's my point. His offense more than makes up for his weak outside defense, or perceived weak. It depends on where you are. Salary's a little high, $27K. We said 29's the highest we would go, so he still meets the criteria. Notice I already bookmarked him because I am reshooting this video. But the point is, this guy's got a lot more hits. Notice the difference. Ooh, 77 and 6 compared to 5 and 0 bookmarks on the $150,000 player. That was far worse than this guy. See what I'm saying? That's how you know you can get more players. So this guy, definitely value. There's interest by the community here. And he'd still be a value up at, I would say, even 200,000. That guy would still be like definitely worth it. Let's look down here. Transfer price estimate. Every player, you will see this at the bottom. What they were purchased for, if they were purchased. Some players are drafted and homegrown. The date acquired. This guy was acquired 2 real life years ago, which is about 6 BuzzerBeater seasons ago. And the price estimate, which is a general nice guide, but by no means a North Star. Okay, do not follow this price estimate. You will get lost in the desert. You really want to look, you'll get to know this stuff by doing what we're doing now, which is applying some basic ideas, which is look at the age, look at the potential, look at the skills to tell me what positions they can play. Yes, the game engine in the game will identify him and put him into a position here as point guard, but we know he could also play shooting guard, and we know he's maybe a better shooting guard than he is a point guard, you know, just because his shooting's so high. So yes, this player can play 2 positions and is very affordable. So we found our Luka type player and we bookmarked him, and then maybe we'll get him, right? Here's another player, a little Luka-esque, little less offense certainly, but more passing, and around the same prices, even younger. Perennial all-star, maybe you can get a little training on him, but probably not. Sorry if you hear my daughter in the other room. Hopefully the noise gate's catching that. So there you go. That's how you use the transfer market. We put in some skill criteria. We put in some positions. You could conversely, let's take these off and do the same exact thing, okay? Let's see how many players we get. So now we're going to be pulling small forwards or power forwards that also have those skills. Not many more. Small forward, though, this guy. The game says he's a small forward. We know he's more of a shooting guard by those skills right there. So there you go. A nice, quick, easy way to look at the transfer market. This guy's got 16 outside D. If you ever see that, take a long, good look at that. And outside of that, I think that's all I have for you for right now. I don't want to get into the weeds. I wanted to keep this video under 20 minutes if I could. Just know the transfer market, if you use it well, could be a good source of income. If you're impatient or you suffer from FOMO or you don't know what you're doing, you can lose a lot of money on the transfer market. So be disciplined, be careful, and thanks for watching.